on Sunday, I believe, so have a really packed schedule. Kind of have to get to the event.
It's going to be rough.
Playing. It certainly is. Well, we'll see what happens in the draft. Talia and Shen banned by Phoenix1, so some globals, and of course, that signature pick from Pirean taken away. LeBlanc will join the pack there, so a second mid laner banned, and there's Zach, Caitlyn, Galio, our three new favorite red side bans, all taken away. First pick at least for P1, nice and zippy.
Yep, the Elite's going to go through here, and there's no surprise about that first pickup. For Team Envy, though, I'm very curious as to Apollo's preferences on the AD carry, because it has been different. It hasn't been that, Jhin that we've been seeing from so many other people, but this is actually a very unexpected first round. Graves has not shown his face in a very long time after those nerfs, to the magic resistance side, and Xayah as well has dropped significantly down after her previous nerfs, but Team Envy, still value both of these attack damage threats, and they are both fairly short range, so I do like the BRaum pickup. Immediate answer here from Phoenix1.
Yeah, it's been one of the more popular supports in the last few weeks, so if you like to see BRaum there for P1 and Xpecial. I did quickly double check. There's only one jungler band here, so Envy really wanting Graves. I mean, LirA and his famous Lee Sin are up. At least I guess being taken away. Maybe LirA just wants something matchup-wise, as there's Renekton taking their physique. Probably the most popular blind pick top laner.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring it back up as far as the matchup for the jungle, though, because the magic resist was the part of Graves that was nerfed most recently, and that's just going to make his head-to-head with Elise more difficult and really put a high importance on dodging that cocoon if he does walk into anywhere blind. All right, that being said, though, it's the classic combo, the Elise plus Renekton. That's a very strong pushing lane. It doesn't specifically have to be Renekton. He's just right now the most dominant pushing lane in the top lane, so that's why everyone always says those two names in the same breath. Elise is good at diving anyone if there's a winning lane for your team, so they could get many more of those and have other options so that they're a bit more unpredictable. So far, though, as you said, with the Talia, the main pick there for Pirean being taken off board, Orianna is pretty much number 2, very standard.
Yeah, and there's the Syndra band to protect it, so it makes sense for Envy as we move into the second phase of bans. Jace banned away. It's one of the most common bans against Seraph specifically. He loves these fighter, bruiser, more aggressive style top laners. I mean, Shen is kind of the one tank that springs to mind when I think of how Seraph likes to play, because he just hates leaving side lanes, just really hates it. There's a Lucian ban for Envy as well, so taking 2 strong mid laners away from Ryu.
Yeah, I like that your immediate instant reaction too is that, oh yeah, that's a mid lane ban, obviously. And it definitely has shown to be the case. Let's see here, last ban from Phoenix1. They could continue to attack mid laners. Or I mean, not attack mid laners. They're going to be picking up the mid laners. They could continue, never mind, they're already done. Support role is what we were going to go for, but not going to be the case.
Could have gone for top lane, but instead they ban away Rakan. I knew where you were going. Hakuho does love that pick, and of course it combos well with the Xayah. That being said, there are plenty of good aggressive supports to pair in with Xayah. Envy in general strike me as a kind of team that love to play aggressively in their 2v2. It's been one of the more surprising aspects of Apollo's play. And there's Gragas actually for Envy. And by the current lay of the land, that looks like top lane Gragas. So maybe Seraph is finally coming around to the idea of playing tanks.
It definitely could be. This adds that extra little wrinkle, because Seraph, as you're talking about his style and you're pushing in the top lane, technically they could switch Graves up there into the Renekton and try and abuse that, but probably will be the Gragas. This matchup specifically was also a bit nerfed. It used to be a bit more even when Gragas could stack those Doran's rings and not have to worry about mana as much, but it's just a slight change. Didn't hurt him too much.
No, still certainly very popular, as there's Kalista and Corki actually to round it out, so couldn't ban away all the aggressive mid laners. Ryu will be taking Corki into the 1v1 here, leaving Envy with the final pick of the draft.
All right, what's it gonna be? All will be revealed now. Playmaking, haha, still available. No surprise here for the Thresh into BRaum. I really like it because you can set up ganks very well also, and there's so much defense in this Envy bottom lane. When we look at the playstyle of this particular team, so often it has been LirA working with his solo laners, and the bottom lane kind of left to their own devices. Xayah post level 6 has her own escape, and then Thresh always can make it much safer.
Well, certainly like both compositions here. Actually, kind of fun to see Kalista coming back into the meta as well. We've kind of mentioned that a lot of these more melee playmaking supports have made the rounds. BRaum kind of the obvious one that stands out, so I think Kalista more naturally fits into a lot of these compositions. when there is no Caitlyn to be found. That's probably the one caveat to give, because as soon as Caitlyn's in a game, bottom lane just feels real bad.
Yeah, and actually, you know, BRaum doubles as multiple defenses, not just for, you know, that lane, but also blocking the Gragas ultimate, the big CC ability that Seraph would bring to those team fights when he does join up. So B1 actually with a pretty solid draft. Yeah,
it feels like they're playing relatively standard. EnVy almost always have some flair to their comps. You mentioned Apollo kind of taking Xayah, one of the few players still with Caitlyn Xayah as their preferences. So EnVy, again, this is a lot of what we've seen from them before. Aggressive junglers, solid solo lanes, and then a very good 2v2 lane that's pretty self-sufficient. I think EnVy have all the tools to get it done, but as always going to be looking at LirA and see what he can get done. And for me, I actually have pretty big questions about Seraph here, just because he doesn't really play a non-lane dominant top laner that often. So seeing him on Gragas is a pretty big change for me, at least in recent memory.
Yeah, I'm definitely as well going to be looking at the jungle matchup that you talked about, because LirA is undeniably the biggest star on Team EnVy. And MikeYeung, the new guy on the block here for Phoenix1, he has the most contested jungler aside from Zach, and the one with a lot of pressure on early playmaking here. See what he can get done with the Elise.
Yep, actually we'll be watching level 1 right now. Everyone's spread out, so onto the rifts. So no aggression to really happen, but MikeYeung got a lot of early help in his initial games in the LCS, and there are some really fast creative jungle routes you can do in MikeYeung. Being that solo queue star seems to know all of them. So, like, I know you like to talk about Kobe. Jungle is all about making good choices. We'll see what early choices MikeYeung makes here on Elise.
See if they'll get down that Raptor ward. You can pretty much assume that a Graves will always start the Raptors, but it's always nice to have that confirmation, or even grab one down onto the red buff so that you can see the exact timing he finishes. Doesn't look like Phoenix1 are going to even go for it, though, and just assume that he is over there. Yep, with a standard Raptor start for both.
Zig actually still hanging out. Xpecial and Arrow protecting the Raptors somewhat here, but again, EnVy just going to make some assumptions, perhaps. We'll have to see, though, as Apollo not going to get anywhere close. Ryu actually going to walk up, get onto Pirean, but does take some damage. Ryu did have his trinket, but couldn't get the ward over.
So if it's a standard Raptor clear from Graves, then after Raptor's red, you kind of can backtrack down to the blue side. But MikeYeung here starting a pretty decent leash on just the red, can go very fast, double buff, level 3 to the top lane with the Renekton, the bully lane, and try and punish Seraph really early on. One of the most effective combos at doing that, but it's not the standard red start here from LirA.
No, it's not. You can actually walk over to this side of the map. Oh, almost spots him, but a good ward from EnVy. He's going to spot MikeYeung coming through. That was LirA that put the trinket down, but no buff contest or steal coming out. Just gets the info and backs away.
Yeah, the ward here in the river from Phoenix1. From Zig, I believe, was the one who used his trinket for that. Allows MikeYeung to continue on with the route. That being said, LirA very well aware the power early game of Renekton and Elise, and he's looking to head that off already, as you can see in the gameplay.
Yes. Might at least not be a surprise if that next gank does come around. So MikeYeung might just opt to farm through. Looks like he's on the gromp at this stage. We'll check in with the 2v2. Great hook by Hakuho in onto Arrow. Xpecial trying to defend. Stun almost there. One more arrow needed. There it is. Just a bit of extra damage traded back and forth. EnVy still on the correct end of that trade, I think.
Yeah, he was trying to get the Ren there off the minions as well, and does get it. Meanwhile, continue to have LirA hugging around up on this top side, just in case, even with the ward that he placed in the blue quadrant. You can see the pings down right now. They're actually tracking MikeYeung, even though their vision on him was a good 20 seconds ago. This goes into how you want to play the odds, basically.
Yep. And good info there from EnVy. Predicting correctly as MikeYeung going to invade. Look for maybe something here. No camps to be found. LirA cleared out the entire side of his red jungle, but there may be a tower dive in the works here.
Yeah, MikeYeung in going over towards the Krugs did bypass for now that Tri-Brush ward, but the Renekton push isn't quite under the turret right now, and they're not going to go for it. They do abort the call.
Yep, no need to really help. Seraph down 10 CS about currently, although he's about to pick up a few more. Hakuho and Apollo actually taking the Scuttle Crab here, so going to deny that somewhat away from LirA, but give them information just in case. But we know MikeYeung now finally moving back to the right-hand side of the map.
Yeah, there is a tremendous amount of safety here for Team EnVy now on this bottom side of the map. They've got both entrances and the river warded up. There is no way that even Elise can gank into the bottom lane, because even if you go over that dragon wall with your repel, they have the Scuttle Crab to boot, and Apollo and Hakuho doing a good job here in the bottom lane. Trying to at least retain vision, if not CS, which they are currently down.
Good chunk there from Pirean onto Ryu, actually. Pirean taking a little too much damage as LirA sneaks into this bottom side of the map. LirA gonna actually take down the ward, so now they know what side of the map is on. Not sure if he meant to auto there, but just gonna take a visit, but looks like there was no gank forthcoming there, so LirA just gonna move back over. Might look at the Drake here, but I think he's looking for a few more camps to farm, given that his jungle's very empty.
Yeah, definitely a bit early to go for any solo Drakes, but he might be the first to that Raptor brush. Not even going to pass by it. MikeYeung going a bit safer here.
I think one of the nice things is, even though, you know, LirA just kind of been farming through, no real aggression enabled here, they are keeping track of the Elise, which seems to be the better part of this game plan. It's a nice little Ren from Arrow onto Apollo. Get some damage down.
That was quite nice, able to get that harassment as well. And Zig definitely abusing this matchup quite well. Has the cull even, doesn't even have to go with extra harassment tools early on to do it. So he's, not only is he abusing and getting that farm lead, he's got something in the bank for later.
Yep, just again, getting further ahead now, moving down. Gonna get some vision in onto the red side of EnVy's jungle. Looks like Arrow and Xpecial finally started pushing this lane back over. Arrow actually up about 10 CS, so 2v2 is looking good for them as LirA onto those Krugs will sweep them out, but can't really enter this top side any further because, again, great vision from P1 as both junglers have spent the first 6 minutes of this game really tracking each other down.
Yeah, and LirA's happy to just farm it out here on Graves. Definitely scales quite well.
Another good hook onto Xpecial. Good play back by Hakuho as well. Apollo had the feathers ready, so the route is set up nicely, but MikeYeung sneaking into the top side here.
Yep. Waiting for Seraph to go aggressive.
He did use the body slam. Courage going to wear off as MikeYeung trying to find the angle. Does get the damage down with the Q. Flash Cocoon, but great flash from Seraph. Going to get him out of there.
Definitely a really good reaction here from Seraph, but he didn't get level 6 yet. They needed to clear out the wave, so he doesn't have Gragas ultimate to try and turn that around and get a counter kill there. Now he just thinks level 6, and that's the advantage of pushing up and getting that experience in the wave pushing first.
Yep, LirA just helps instead, covers the potential 2v2 or turret dive that was started, so first blood still on the table for both these teams. Mid lane though, looks like Pirean and Ryu been farming up nice and equally, but the first early buys are complete. Lost chapter up for Pirean, and there's the Sheen first for Ryu, so going with the most aggressive component of the Trinity Force.
And I think that Phoenix1 should be aggressive here early on. Their whole composition is, you know, kind of revolves around controlling neutral objectives and neutral space on the map. So you want to try and you know, get those early aggressive components in, take over some territory, and then you start to mine your lead basically off of the map. You know, Elise, super good at ganking super early on. You get that extra objective control with the Kalista from the bottom lane. So as soon as they hit level 6 down there and you get all that utility out of the Kalista BRaum lane, I think that we might see Phoenix1 go more proactive here and really start to try and take matters into their own hands as far as controlling those neutral spaces.
Ryu getting aggressive though, in onto Pirean, dodges out of the way of the phosphorus one, but Pirean is going to stand there. Good shockwave back, but here's Xpecial also to the mid lane.
Yeah, he got pretty low there, and you don't have to get much lower because LirA does have access to his ultimate, so might have been able to get a summoner heal out of Ryu, but doesn't actually pull the trigger, and then everybody holds onto their cooldowns.
Hakuho looking for a hook. He's going to land onto Xpecial. Root's going to follow. Actually, decent amount. Chunking Xpecial down, but BRaum pretty tanky with the shield up. Not going to be giving over first blood as mid lane is low on mana here as well. Ryu, both of them, I think, just trying to take those waves down and then leave, or in Ryu's case, go over and get the blue buff that MikeYeung is preparing for him. So Ryu may opt to stay. We'll see exactly how that goes. But again, lots of strong exchanges on either side, but teams are answering very well. Support rooms up for P1, and Hakuho is not far behind.
Yeah, and a bit of extra vision for Phoenix1, or I mean for Team EnVy currently on the bottom side as well, both sides of the Dragon Pit, as we saw, that allow them to get some harassment there onto Xpecial. And they're really trying to get that setup done for when Phoenix1 do decide to pull it. Both top laners are clearly holding on to their teleports, so they're ready for that action as well.
Yeah, just a lot of walking back to those lanes actually, as Seraph gonna come back with a Sheen. Looks like Iceborne Gauntlet first for him. Zig not gonna build that team out just yet. Looks like Fade into Black Cleaver are gonna be the first few items. And again, it's kind of eerie to see a game with an Elise and LirA in it, where First Blood hasn't happened just yet, but teams just kind of feeling each other out. P1 happy to, again, play up in their lanes, play aggressive, and open up the game once the mid-section rolls around.
All right, MikeYeung, again, Elise up onto the top side. They do have vision, but remember, he walked over a lot of NV defensive vision to get here. So LirA has some inkling of an idea that MikeYeung could still be in the area.
LirA actually going to take a pretty safe way out, pops his control ward down next to his Raptor Pit, but no wards in that particular area for him to move out. EnVy again just trying to protect, as MikeYeung does take the blast point over, but on a control ward right now. Seraph going to spot him, and MikeYeung going to try and stay and clear the ward, but not particularly safe.
Yeah, you got to be a little careful. Seraph, did go for the Sheen early after just the second ring there, so he's got that extra burst damage, and even Elise has to be a little bit worried because LirA, again, is very close in tow.
Oh, LirA's here. Good old back there into Zig. Actually takes a bit of tower aggro. Zig forced to pop Dominus. LirA looking to chase him down. MikeYeung here. Lands a stun. Going to try and turn it around. Maybe no. LirA! Collateral damage gives him first blood.
Zig was abusing the matchup so well for so long, but I don't know why he thought he could survive with that amount of health. As we were talking about the Graves ultimate from before, being really good at executing those laners from that low, and LirA is easily able to pick it up. What about Pirean?
Be roaming up with the package. He's going to use it to get out of the way as Pirean blows another shockwave just to keep Ryu away. Pirean, I think, tried to roam up before, but we'll kind of watch how this gank unfolded. Zig just thought he could turn it around right at the end, but great setup here for EnVy.
And they're just waiting for it to happen. This time around, Seraph has his ultimate on Gragas, so they can get the early initiative in the fight. And then he turns around to get the stun onto Seraph, even though Seraph wasn't even low. And it definitely does cost them first blood quite clearly. Now the first turret, though, might be an issue, as there are 4 members of Phoenix1. They're not even actually going to concentrate any other efforts on it. LirA can move in, clear out the minions, and really cause Phoenix1 to disperse.
Yep, Hakuho there as well, so Pirean going to get away with only burning the heal. LirA going to aggressively push his way back out, and I mean, LirA doesn't have an ultimate, but Ryu can't really safely stay in this 1v1. He's going to stay for one more wave, but LirA buying time for his mid laner. Ryu's going to have to go back to base as well. Good to see him playing more aggressive on the Corki, but a missile missing, I think, was the difference in a potential kill there onto Pirean. And we've actually had a pretty interesting lane swap that kind of happened in the middle of that replay. Even when the top play started, Arrow and Xpecial were already up to that top side, so they're there now. Pirean's going to go ahead and take the blue buff, and Seraph has trade-off places. He's back down to that bottom lane as Zig's also joined in. So pretty early swap here from P1, it looks like. Maybe trying to get themselves out of the way of that 2v2 matchup.
And both top laners still have their teleports as well. A lot of the vision also all around on this top side. Still going to have LirA moving his way back through the jungle as well. Just look at the farm difference here. Even though farm numbers don't tell everything for junglers anymore, because it really depends on which camp. Graves is almost always going to farm so much harder than Elise. And the fact that he got the... he might actually run into a wall jump.
Oh, Xpecial going to miss after the ultimate from Kalista. Hook's going to miss from a Hakuho as well, but they're going to re-engage. Box lands in. Xpecial almost getting clear, but Pirean gets caught off with the fast Ryu. Looking for the 1v1. He does win it. Able to take down the Orianna. Xpecial flash ulti. Looks to tag a pole, but he featherstorms out. Flashes out of the way. EnVy getting away, but one man down.
And there it is. Pirean goes down as Ryu's just able to take advantage of the last few seconds before his flash comes up, I believe, and able to get that kill by himself.
A lot of summoners burnt there on the EnVy side to get away from it, so maybe aggression incoming as Pirean tried again for this 1v1.
Unless it's one of those replay visual bugs, it looks like his flash was up here for Pirean. He's just walking back and forth, taking autos, trying to dodge the missiles, and gets shot down. So that was... yeah, that was just a little bit greed there from Pirean, or lack of respect, whatever you want to call it. Hakuho.
The base checks get stunned up. Gonna try and turn it back around. The TP in from EnVy might turn it, but there's the follow from P1. Apollo gets exhausted, stunned up by the BRaum as everyone's here in the top side. Arrow already going to take him down, and Seraph far too late here.
Seraph goes back in though, because LirA's on the way up the river.
Pirean coming as well. Seraph, no ultimate though, already burnt up by the looks of things.
He did just confirm, yeah. Pirean had his flash up the entire time. Just felt like dancing. Cost him his life. It's dangerous.
Well, again, Hakuho just face checking here, and it's an easy kill for P1.
Yeah, so much control there. With this duo, they actually used the exhaust as well, and able to line up all of those stuns. Even though Seraph tried to bail him out with the Gragas ultimate, he's already dead, and explosive cash goes nowhere.
Yeah, and again, kind of a, I'm gonna say an odd little lane swap to prompt all this action, but P1 starting to play a little better with the power they're building up. Ryu is going to be very close to Trinity Force, Flare to the Ruin King, almost not for Arrow, and Black Cleaver is completed for Zig, so collapsing well there to win some of these early exchanges. Envy trying to scale a little bit more and find more of a team fight, so we'll need to complete those items first. Before that happens, it looks like Envy have decided to swap back, actually. They're going to pressure this turret 2v1.
Yeah, both teams are still looking for the early first turret gold bonus here. So pressure being added with a red buff jungler, they should be able to get it with this power play.
Yep, it's a nice little swap down from Envy. Again, going to move themselves down, and that should be first turret over. Last hit from LirA, and gold shed around.
Graves actually so good at taking those early turrets, and especially red buff extra damage is really underappreciated when you're just trying to work through a couple of extra seconds, because Phoenix1 are trying to answer on top, but it's not even close. And that means for both mid laners, if you look at the mini maps, they should be hovering the sides of the map where their teams are pushing whenever you have these splits. These are kind of reminiscent of those lane swap days where we had it from the very beginning, just a bit later in the game. And we also have different neutral objectives that can be traded. So Phoenix1 will see if they try and get the Rift Herald in answer to the Drake as soon as they get that global call. They'll know it's been taken down.
Yep, MB did have a ward in the back, but a control ward in the pit is going to blind them. Xpecial wards over the back of the wall. And now the Rift Herald looking to go over to P1. MB might be trying to collapse here, but looks like they'll be a little too late. Seraph's in the area, but Ren there for
might take the fight afterwards.
Easy.
No teleport on Zig. This is pretty bad for P1.
MikeYeung is going to get it. Seraph tries to body slam, but he repels out of the way. MikeYeung trying to bail. Xpecial looking to block it down. Seraph getting the ulti back, and MikeYeung falls. Now Envy looking to chase it on. Xpecial hops over to Arrow.
It's turned into a kind of a buzzword now, but tempo really does cost lives. NA doesn't cost them the blue buff though.
Nope,
Arrow's able to get it, yeah.
Hops over the wall, very cute.
But because they were so far behind, you know, they could not kill the Rift Herald in time before Envy were able to get back. They knew that there was no way it was going to be a 5-on-5. Zig doesn't have teleport, and they're just so far ahead there that Envy are able to pick up an extra kill on the exit here from Phoenix1.
Well, perhaps an overstay in the top side of the map will cost them a turret though, as Zig is able to work down that bottom outer and take it down. Currently 1v1ing onto Seraph, but Seraph not really bothered, just Iceborne Gauntlet helping out the trades. Ninja Tabai also making that 1v1 easier than you might think, but P1 successfully defend their top outer turret here.
Yeah, I feel like Gragas is always going to be trying to catch up to Renekton though in this matchup, even though this is a good adaptation to the build. Because of the early bullying of Renekton and that early gold, his cleaver is finished, you know, kind of ahead of the curve on the armor that Seraph is trying to stack. So as quick as you stack it, Renekton starts to shred it, and it's definitely very annoying in addition to the slice and dice shredding that goes on in that. So Seraph's really looking to make his presence felt in those team fights and in that utility that he's going to bring with that knockback. As far as being in the right place, he's already a little bit ahead.
Also reflected in his CS lead there for Zig, who's about 25 up. Looks like Flare to the Ruin King will be his second item as well, so really building for more of that 1v1. And as far as other item completions go, Ryu now does have the Trinity Force with a pickaxe to spare, so does have the package. I think it's going to time up before he can make a play, but
the classic Black Cleaver Blade of the Ruin King Renekton build is just the build for shredding tanks. Your W Renekton stun gets multiple attacks off, so not only do you apply multiple stacks of your armor shred from your Black Cleaver, but the current health as well comes through very quickly. So That is pretty much the build to shred Seraphs. And again, it is going to be Seraph looking for team play.
Stun land on the Hakuho, but MikeYeung the one in trouble. Ultimate's going to knock him back out of the shockwave. Not the combo they were trying to line up. Zig there, flashed onto the Pirean, but he pulls out on the lantern to safety. Ryu firing missiles, looking for LirA. 2 more orders for the stun, but Xpecial getting chunked down, gets pulled up by Arrow. And the ulti from LirA is going to miss the result for Ryu. 2-man knocker back to his Pirean, flashes out of the way. And P1's a little too much strength. There's 2 down. As a better storm's not enough. LirA going to fall on the other end as Arrow grabs the double Apollo. Tagged in by the Winter's Bite, going to take the lantern out. But P1 with a great little team fight.
Oh, and that is going to give them map control here to take up the mid turret very easily and get a second with that Rift Herald they were able to grab.
And it just feels like Envy, who are in a decent position, are falling apart in the last few minutes. Big gold lead going to be bursting out here for P1. Is there almost 4,000 gold ahead, and the Rift Herald's not done doing some damage. P1 will not stick around for any more, but just going to buy a little bit more time.
Really big fight on the power spikes here for Phoenix1. Corki and Kalista just dominant. All right, take a look at the beginning of it, because as you said, the synergy of 2 big ultimates, those are the big team fight ultimates for this team. And desynced there for Seraph and Pirean. That one is just kind of a tilter, but then it looks like they're just so angry after that that they continue the fight here. And that's another whiffed ultimate as Apollo doesn't get anybody with those feathers and they just get run out. So if you're gonna whiff all your big ultimates, then yeah, Phoenix1's gonna steamroll.
And that's exactly what happened in the team fight. Apollo able to get out with help from Hakuho, but massively built up now for P1 as Arrow gonna add a Hurricane as his second item. He only had the Blade of the Drone King in that last fight, I believe. So very quick second item completion. Ryu on the way to his Infinity Edge, and there's a build order up for Zig towards that Blade. So carries are only getting stronger, and even MikeYeung going to be going for that AP Elise style as well with Leandry's near completion.
Yeah, and like we were talking about earlier, they want to keep this pace very quick here and trying to continue to abuse their power in the mid-game. Straight coming up at 45 seconds would be a perfect opportunity for Phoenix1 to do that. Team Envy are trying to clear out the wards around it right now and grab that Scuttle Crab. But even with the lasting Scuttle Crab vision, I kind of expect Phoenix1 to move the action over to that side of the map to try and set up.
It's been nice to see them be generally very aggressive around objectives. They've got plenty of damage built into this comp with 2 marksmen, including a Kalista. And again, as this champion kind of re-enters the metagame, teams are going to remember exactly how frustrating it can be to deal with like situations like this. Hakuho tag, but hook back in, and I'm sure Xpecial's too worried. Does punch him a few more times. Now he's got to be worried. Knocked back from Seraph and Pirean, going to take him out.
Yeah, the Cocoon, the Kalista ultimate, and BRaum were all used there and not able to find anything. So Hakuho, he merely just walks away with his mobility boots and then gets the re-engage for Team Envy. So it's really been about 2 overextensions into a little bit of a counterplay there. Envy, however, only get 1 kill back for themselves as a reward for that. And still going to be licking their wounds.
No objectives just yet, as LirA has now finished a rapid fire cannon. I certainly expected him to get aggressive, but he doesn't have Warlords, which I guess makes sense as a jungler, as Storm Raiders instead. Very curious to see Warrior, Hex Drinker, rapid fire cannon. Yeah,
it is. He's bringing Graves back, and he's bringing Graves back with a very interesting flavor, because the rapid fire cannon will extend, the first shot there for your bullets, but such a rare item on Graves. If you see any of the Zeal items, it has always been the Phantom Dancer, because he's so short range and you want to use the damage reduction as well as the extra move speed that it gives you, but now he'll be a little bit less short range for that first attack. And I actually want to see... No, he's never going to do it, but it would be fun to see if he went the double energizer that all the AD carries are going, just because it's hilarious. But that being said, this will be like 5 patches ago or something where Graves had his crit synergy increased and actually scales very well with crit. It's just that most people want to build the champion as the bruiser to outlast in a lot of team fights and get some defenses in there with your offense to really be that or show off the true grit. But not being said here for LirA.
Nope, he's a carry and he wants to build like one. So we'll see how the build develops. Apollo also has his second item as a rapid fire cannon to join in, but if you want to finish their big ones, Ryu always a one to watch here. Corki's the kind of champion that takes a lot of investment to get going, but buying, I think, the two most expensive items in the game, or certainly two of the trickier ones to get as far as total cost goes, but he's really strong at this point.
Yeah, that is a spike. If you're going to talk about power here, the Infinity Edge Trinity Force feels very, very good. You know the other thing about Rapid Fire Cannon? Since all of Graves are now taking Storm Raider Surge, it does seem like it would be easy for you to pop the Storm Raider Surge at the very beginning, rather than having to really get into the fight to start it out. So that may be another reason and another pro of incorporating this into your build. I would still say be cautious with this in solo queue right now.
Just go take it straight into a game before.
But I'm figuring it out as we're going along. Yeah. They're definitely pros to it.
I like it. Well, see what Phoenix1 are up to next, though, is still nursing that gold lead. Did get cut down a bit after EnVy got a pick, but things have delayed. Teams are trying to get back around the vision. No Drake up. The next one will be a Cloud. EnVy do have the only 2 Drakes that have spawned so far, but Baron is kind of that next big objective teams are looking for, as LirA going to go ahead and take the red buff
right before the big one. Pretty close steal attempt there from Ryu. And see if they can actually get their fight, the fight that they want to force, though. Again, Zig is going to be applying pressure in that 1 versus 1 because he's got his 2-item spike done as well. Blade plus the Cleaver combo that we were talking about that's so good at shredding the tanks means that Seraph has to, kind of seed pressure to the Renekton in the side lane. And with that extra pressure, Phoenix1 are trying to starve out the vision. Once you get that, then your picks start to come through from the Elise and the Kalista combos.
Well, on the other side for EnVy too, do remember that we're kind of talking up more of their team fight in this game, and they are getting to a point where they can reasonably have a good 5v5.
Definitely true. EnVy still have the extra Drakes that they can bank on, have that value for the duration of the game, and the Ocean Drake specifically is definitely helping Seraph out a lot as well.
Whoa,
LirA! Display.
That's not the correct way to go. Ryu going to take him down for his transgression. Pirean even committed the ulti to try and save him, but he's dead. He's very dead, and with the jungler down, P1 runs straight to Baron.
Well, that was the pick that you're talking about, and they were able to find it pretty easily. The vision has also, as we were saying, previously been laid, so they can transition fairly seamlessly over to this Baron. Right now, Zig is actually trying to get out of vision of Seraph. He's running from Seraph so that he can teleport in case they need him.
Ren damage there. It's going to be taken down. Arrow able to claim the buff for his team. EnVy don't even get a single kill. As P1 tank up the Baron. Going to try and shove down mid lane instead, but Ryu's already over, ready to clear that out, and EnVy have to back away.
That's that neutral objective focus, as previously mentioned, on display there. So ridiculously hard to take any neutral objectives from a Kalista team, even if you have something like Nunu, which they don't even have at their disposal, nor do they even have a smite. So very clean and seamless pickup of the Baron here for Phoenix1. See how they actually do with their siege, because the one drawback is that they're a little bit short range. I would say that, Ryu's Trinity Force empowered autos are enough to take out like 20% of a turret per Trinity Force proc, maybe, though, so probably won't be too big of an issue for them. They currently, though, are split all the way into a 1-3-1.
Yeah, and Zig actually caught out here, does move through the box, pops Dominus, but EnVy here collapsing with 3. Xpecial going to try and turn it back around, but Seraph now going to catch him instead. Pulled out by the Fate's Call, should be safe.
Yep, gonna recall Xpecial into the mid lane here for Arrow. And that being said, it was a decent amount of stuff here that Phoenix1 were burning while they were spread out. In that time, you can say Ryu did get the turret, or did get the minions all the way up to that bottom turret, and he should be able to take it with ease. Trinity Force proc, very quick at taking that one down. One outer turret left, basically.
Yep.
Top side.
Trying to kind of reinforce their siege as well. Looks like more rapid fire cannons. Actually, there's Ryu finishing his next one. Looks like Static Shiv will be the next item also with that shard purchase. So again, P1, definitely some short range marksmen, but trying to build something.
Both of them are longer now for one auto.
One auto, which for Corki seems to be enough.
Yep. 4 rapid fires in this game. That is the most rapid fires that I have seen in a competitive game. I'm sure there have been more, but
maybe. Oh, breaking new ground perhaps here in the NA LCS as LirA ultis out the correct way this time. It still has to burn his ulti defensively, which is not the desired outcome of the Graves ultimate. And P1 in general just starting to really strong arm Envy out of this game. Envy only with 1 turret taken is becoming a real task to try and get P1 out from off their stuff.
Yeah, with the end of the Baron buff plus the package threatening this turret, it's definitely risky for Team Envy. They're clearing it out right now just because they see 2-3 members mid. Luckily for them, the package was about to time out, so Ryu just dumps it over there. But this pressure still is here as Baron yet to time out. About a quarter left with it as well, so a few more of those minion waves are going to have the extra power.
Yeah, Ryu's going to move down towards the bottom side actually as Zig still works on this top wave. Ryu's going to get this pushing in again. P1 committing to this 1-3-1, trying to do maximum damage with the Baron buff. Looks like just Pirean challenging Ryu at the moment. I don't think he can do too much work. Is that a great shockwave? Good hook there from Hakuho. Plays back Xpecial.
Still got minions there though, so Xpecial's fine. No turret shots taken, no harm done.
And Ryu just guiding the Baron up cannon creep for a little while longer. Pirean trying to wait it out as a flank from Apollo. Gonna scare Ryu away.
Yeah, the Ocean Drake is just working overtime trying to heal Envy back up.
Xpecial on the threat again. Fate's call. No, now out of range. Xpecial does get back in there. Pops out as Arrow pulls the trigger. Looks like again going back for it. Xpecial actually with a great flank. Ultimate takes down Apollo, who did have Featherstorm ready. Seraph now, the next one taking heat is Zig, tanking the rest of it. Ult from Pirean goes wide. The Xpecial flashes out of the way. And P1 just a little too far forward. Flash on to Seraph's going to try and clean up yet another kill. Tank almost down there, it falls. As Ryu's just cleaning up the base.
Yeah, he's inside the base. You're being attacked from behind.
All right, well, P1 going to push in and maybe even going to try and end the game. Ryu got a Nexus turret out of his siege attempt and took out the bottom inhibitor. So the assault not done yet for Phoenix1.
5 members inside the base.
Oh no.
Xpecial actually pretty low. Might be only 4 soon.
Arrow going to burn the heal. There's the stand behind me onto Ryu to get Xpecial out of there. Envy still chasing but kills Pirean. Finally shuts one down. Flash QW going to take out Xpecial, but that was a very odd siege. I feel like P1 just threw themselves at Envy to buy time for Ryu, and to their credit, it was actually quite effective.
Yeah, Ryu did take his toll, and in the end, turret goes down to the minions. But let's take another look at the fight here, because Seraph uses the ultimate pretty early. Not only does he, only get Zig, but Xpecial still in lock there with the Kalista ultimate, then gets a full stun CC combo onto Apollo, and Apollo never gets the ultimate off, going down really early here. So even though Envy were able to bring all 5 members first, doesn't mean a thing because Apollo goes down so quickly.
Yep, and now Cladvic over to P1. Bottom inhibitor down also means that Baron spawning in a minute 25 looks almost effortless for Phoenix1 to try and obtain. And Ryu is still going strong. He soloed half of Envy's base. He's got 4 items as a Corki.
And that's what, a lot of people had eyes on Ryu for some improvements here to see him step up in these games and get ready for international competition. This is definitely a step in the right direction, as definitely showing up here on Corki and utilizing their mid game. It's running straight through as soon as they got their 2 item spikes coming through for Phoenix1. Really good job at pushing ahead. That one big teamfight victory led to a fairly big snowball.
Oh, MikeYeung with his Zhonya's. That's a surprising one. Able to save himself from the potential pick. And that kind of dissipates as Arrow going to throw Xpecial back into the fray. Looks for LirA, but now Hakuho is cut off. He's absolutely going down. Is Ryu able to take that one down now on a killing spree as Zig cuts off LirA, who does ult the out, but it's not enough as the stun buffers through and takes him out. Is MikeYeung going to grab the execute?
All right, super minions on the way down through bottom lane as well, so not much left here for Team Envy.
Running out of gas in the tank.
5v3. This should be trivial for Phoenix1 to take another inhibitor turret.
Oh, good ulti back with the locket. Minimizes that damage. Zig again front lining up. That turret going to fall down to the double rapid fire marksman, and this inhibitor melts before Envy's eyes. P1 going to back away, save themselves, and move out to the Baron. And with every lane starting to push, two of them having supers, Envy have almost no chance to contest this. LirA still dead.
Yeah.
For 6 more
honestly,
seconds.
They don't even have to recall. Everyone has over 1,000 gold in their pockets right now, but they're going to grab the Baron first because 2 inhibitors down and everyone respawning from Team Envy. That's just how far ahead in this game they are. And now they'll get to go back and spend all that money. Here's how it happened again. This was the pick attempt. Envy had previously gone for the kill on MikeYeung, but Zhonya's delayed and saved him. And it was pretty easy pickings as they moved in here into the jungle. Again, Kalista plus BRaum, so much chase potential. And they're able to lock it down.
Yep. And P1 certainly have the damage as soon as the stun lands to just delete the members of Team Envy. Now with the Baron buff for 3 minutes. Going to move to that top side and start work. Zig actually assumed he teleported to that last play. He did not. He somehow got there from, I'm going to guess, mid lane. So he even has the TP to guide the Baron up super minions towards that bottom side of the map and then join the team as they look to assault one of the few remaining turrets.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably at this point almost quicker for him to just walk over there once it gets inside the base too. There's very little Team Envy territory in the Summoner's Rift right now. They're trying to defend one of their only 2 turrets left standing here.
Well, Ryu with the package, gonna just hit LirA with the rapid fire cannon bullet.
Ooh.
Get himself out of the way, but LirA gets chunked.
Oh, the static shit, rapid fire Infinity Edge Trinity Force auto onto LirA. Nearly one-shots him.
I think that's pretty much all of the auto attack enhancements you can get.
That BF sword is going to turn into another one. I would say Mercurial Scimitar it should be. Just in case you happen to get locked down.
Well, we've got the pointy end of the item, which I like. Ryu again, just building full damage. And Seraph trying to make the play, gets Ryu, but not enough there. Seraph pretty tanky. Hakuho gets arrow, but he QSS down now. Zig gonna start it all off. Xpecial jumps in. Flash ulti goes a 3-man knockover as MikeYeung gonna take it Pirean to start. Apollo gets absolutely taken down. Huge amount of kills as MikeYeung grabs the double, and that's gonna be it. P1 is gonna snowball in this game well out of control. They firmly lead the whole way through, and that's a Nexus down. P1 up 1-zip.
Definitely a dominating victory here in game number 1.
That looked very easy for P1, I have to say. I mean, game was relatively close. Teams were fighting back and forth. P1 kind of found a few breaks in the objective trades, got a little lead there, and then you said it, that one team fight in the mid game, and Envy just kind of put hands on head saying, we need to team fight, but we don't have the items yet, and they never got to a point where they felt close enough to try and force a 5v5.
I mean, Phoenix1 got the early jungler in Elise, the best pushing top laner in Renekton. They had a Kalista BRaum lane for utility from the bottom side, and Ryu in a mid lane here. As soon as he got Trinity Force, they were just off to the races.
Yep, and I mean, if it's that simple for P1, you can kind of see why this team is looking a whole lot better, but I'm almost flabbergasted, to be perfectly honest. That was a super clean game for P1. Not a comp you expect to look that good, but I mean, people just died, and then you have 2 marksmen. Just keep shooting people. Kalista, BRaum going to chase everybody down.
Yeah, I mean, they were definitely focused around, like we said, the neutral game and neutral objectives and trying to get picks within, people rotating through the jungle. And when you find those picks and are able to convert that lead so early on, it was a, good job by snowballing.
Certainly was. Well, I'm having trouble explaining it, so we're going to throw it over to the analysts to see if they can make anything of Phoenix1's win.
Thank you very much, Pastry. Can we make anything of Phoenix1's win?
Here.
Nothing. All right, back to you guys at the desk. No. Either way, Phoenix1 comes away with the victory here. Pastry claims it was a very clean game out of them. I think it's safe to say that things are looking up for the team. Now, of course, this is only one game.
Yeah, and also it's easy for things to look up when you're at the bottom of the standings.
That's also a very good point.
Temper it a little bit, I definitely think we have to, because Phoenix1 up against Team Envy. Envy did look a little bit out of sorts, running Pirean in the mid lane as well, which was something where Niski did have a good performance last week.
Right.
It was a little questionable, but I do feel like running Pirean against his old team where he had actually beaten them previously could be good because he has worked with a lot of these guys in the past and knows a lot of their play style.
Absolutely. It also seems that Envy is solidly moving into the column of teams that is looking towards a multi-man roster, not necessarily a set 5 without any adjustments. So throwing Pirean in here in game 1, we'll see if he decides to, or they decide to stick him in for game 2. We'll get to that. But within this game, Phoenix1 did get the advantage on a couple huge team fights and ultimately did close it out in clean fashion. Let's talk about these picks, though, because there was different priority in this series as to what we saw in Series 1 of the evening.
Yeah, they ended up going very early on with the lease pick for MikeYeung, which, you know, you're kind of like, okay, you know, the guy plays a whole bunch of other things, but I feel like taking away from LirA is good. And then LirA's priority on Graves was the one that made me go, okay, this guy, like, loves playing Nidalee. He can play Lee Sin. And then when you pick Graves, you kind of push yourself towards a composition that's going to need more CC in all of the lanes and very reliable CC. Graves was really good back when Maokai was a thing, so you need those types of abilities for him to actually get ganks off. And with LirA being such a big part of the team, it's very difficult for them to actually set him up, which puts Envy behind.
So now this just might be my opinion, but I want to get your thoughts on it. To me, I understand Graves is a great carry champion for a jungler that is, you know, is solid and can get the, you know, get the gold in his pocket. But LirA, to me, the way he feels most effective in this team is as a playmaker. Yeah. And Graves isn't necessarily a playmaker. I can't start the fights as Graves like I can, you know, flash kick or kick flash you in, or even, you know, dive in on Elise with the cocoons and things like that, or the Gragas with the flash, you know, body slam. So to me, that felt like a peculiar pick because their largest playmaker, the guy who they rely on to get them through those early games and build the leads, is on a champion that can't do that.
Yeah, I was watching Twitter, and Dardoch made a tweet about it saying, you know, oh no, LirA's ganking the side lane creeps. How are they going to answer this?
Oh no!
He's getting all this farm, getting all this CS, but they weren't able to do anything with it. So yeah, I completely agree with you there that LirA on something that's a little bit more playmaky would be better for them. And I definitely think like something like a Nidalee is even better here because you power farm and then you go harass the enemy jungler and you keep MikeYeung, who has been performing quite well, you know, kind of tied up.
And that's the thing. He's a, you know, very young jungler, very green. We've seen him on picks like the Nidalee and the Lease. Things that are strong in the early game have definitely probably helped him with his confidence levels and ability to make plays. But that's where I would, again, turn back to LirA and go, all right, cool. If I'm developing a game plan against P1, it would be all about getting MikeYeung into an uneasy place. Yeah. How can we mess with the rookie jungler and get him off kilter? And that would be through LirA on picks like Lee Sin or Elise himself. Either way, I don't want to tunnel too far on the pick as it wasn't the only factor in the game. Let's look at some gameplay here. Coming in at 19:30 into the game, 3 kills for Phoenix1, plus 2 turrets with the use of the Rift Herald afterwards. Beautiful fight out of them here in the jungle.
Yeah, started by MikeYeung, and then he gets the hook and the shockwave out by blowing his flash as Zig enters the back end. And now they have no shockwave, they have no hook for a bit, and so Ryu gets to go forward and deal a decent amount of damage here. And then as they retreat, the awesome BRaum ultimate comes out there, and then they're able to navigate around where the Featherstorm had come out. So Arrow jumps in, they completely follow it up, and that's really what did it for me there, is when Arrow gets in from the side to avoid the potential route, because it looks like a really good Featherstorm from Apollo that would keep that choke point intact, but Arrow avoids it by flashing and jumping over walls.
I mean, back on the discussion of picks, the BRaums, the Tom Kenches, or Xpecial, these feel like the kinds of champions that teams need to start targeting so that he can't play them, because when you build around Arrow, Phoenix1 has been very, very vocal about the fact that they are building their team around him. As an organization, they're building around the MVP ADC, and they want him to be, you know, successful. Well, don't let them take BRaum then. Don't let them take BRaum Kalista, where he has the ultimate amount of safety, or the Tom Kenches. And so I'd like to see maybe even a little bit more focus towards Xpecial, making him, you know, stretch his legs here in the support champion pools.
It's an interesting concept as well. I was talking with Riv about it, and he's actually calling Xpecial the Tom BRaum mom. Yeah. He's always keeping him protected. He's played 3 champions so far this split: Tom Kench, BRaum, and Thresh, all of which can save the AD carry, and their job is to save the AD carry and soak damage, and also make some plays. But I definitely feel like the big emphasis is making sure that he is safe. So if you keep Arrow alive, then, you know, Phoenix1 can play to that win condition. Here, he gets to play BRaum with double AD carry.
Yep.
This was classic. It's a throwback to when double AD carry became a big thing a year ago, where BRaum would just be the person who stacks up the passive, and then they all are able to just shoot and get those stuns constantly.
Both ADCs finding tremendous success in this game. Arrow will receive Player of the Game. Ryu, honorable mention, as he was the highest damage dealt, but Arrow's kill participation as well as deathless game, phenomenal to see out of him. Moving towards Game 2, we'll have to see if Envy can strike back to even up the score when we come back with Game 2 versus Phoenix1. Stay with us. You're watching the North American LCS.